Are you tired of feeling trapped and unmotivated in your job, fitness journey, or personal development? What if I told you that one powerful rule could change all of that? Yes, it's the Locus Rule. Well, it's a concept that many successful people apply to keep motivated on their goals even when things don't go as planned. Keep watching to find out how to take control of your motivation and start achieving your goals today. First, let's see how the Locus Rule came into play. Columbia University conducted a study in 1998 to measure the effectiveness of motivation on a large scale using a group of 5th grade students. In the first level, they were offered difficult tasks that reflect the type of puzzles to be solved. In any case, regardless of the students' performance, all the students were told that their score was A+. It was then partitioned into two groups that involved students. The first group was informed that they had been good performers in that they comprehended what was required and deserved, and the second group was informed that they had worked hard and thus done well. In the second level, these students were provided with 3 types of problematic puzzles, ranging from easy, medium, and hard. Those who were told that they were smart and clever solved the sample questions and answered them without spending a second on the hard ones. Equally, they did not look for solving any of the difficult puzzles. On the other hand, the hard workers mostly focused on the more difficult puzzles and tried to solve all the puzzles placed. From this study, it can be deduced that the former group had no motivation, while the latter group was able to encourage themselves. The provided study introduced people to the concept of the Locus of Control. The psychological concept of locus of control, which refers to the belief that one can control outcomes, affects how one responds to difficulties. When faced with an unexpectedly difficult task or obstacle, how do you feel? What goes through your mind? Do you wonder why you are experiencing this, or feel like you are under attack? Do you think about how you might overcome this challenge to achieve what you want? Diverse beliefs exist regarding the factors that impact an individual's behavior and the consequences that arise from it. This notion is known as locus of control in psychology. But how does the boost affect the locus of control? Let's find out. The theory, commonly known as locus of control of reinforcement, was named by an American psychologist, Julian B. Rotter. He concentrated on social learning theory and, for the first time, came up with a paper on locus of control in 1966. Since then, several other researchers have ventured into the field to research the locus of control. For instance, Walston developed the health locus of control construct. According to Rotter, there are 2 types of locus of control, internal and external. So the notion of the locus of control is not very complicated. It states that behavior is maintained, controlled, and directed by different types of reinforcements, which can be in a form of reward or a punishment. Based on the rapidity of the reinforcements that someone experiences, people eventually adopt different beliefs as to what makes them act in certain ways. A number of those beliefs go on to influence a person's behavior in a very dramatic way. It is possible to think that a person cannot control him or herself and the circumstances that take place. Other people can have attitudes, for example, as they are fully responsible for what they are doing and the outcomes resulting from it. One can only imagine how those 2 opposite beliefs will redefine the way that he or she looks at society or his or her position in it and conduct. These 2 beliefs are the 2 types of locuses of control. In addition to the internal environment, the external environment of the company should also be considered. So how do the internal and external locus of control work? Let's break down what defines these 2 types of locus of control. First, we're going to start with internal locus of control. When there is an internal locus of control, control originates internally. You are in charge of your conduct. Having an internal locus of control means that you feel in charge of your own life and decisions. These individuals typically have higher levels of self-efficacy as a result. If you are successful, you think it's because you made the correct decisions and exerted the appropriate amount of effort. You will only hold yourself accountable if you fail. You think that if you had worked harder or chosen a different course of action, the result could have been different. One who possesses both an internal locus of control and a high degree of resilience is probably driven to succeed. Research has indicated that individuals possessing this kind of locus of control enjoy greater prosperity than those lacking it. People who possess an internal locus of control are probably accountable for their actions and take ownership of them. They don't think luck will play a role in their success, so they have higher expectations for themselves. They consequently have a propensity to take charge of their jobs, their objectives, and anything else that matters to them. However, research on gender differences and the internal locus of control have yielded mixed results. Research indicates that men are more likely than women to have an internal locus of control. However, contrary findings have been found in other studies. Accordingly, your gender probably has no bearing on any internal drive you may have regarding your locus of control. The likelihood is higher that it is impacted by the rewards and penalties an individual received during their upbringing. Next, we're going to talk about the external locus of control. External locus of control implies that control originates from other people or situations. High levels of external locus of control indicates that one feels that forces beyond his or her control determines the behavior that one displays and the results that are obtained. In the case of getting a win in a game, you will have the notion that luck made you attain the win, or you will just think that you have won because the rest of the players were inferior to you. But if you lose, it will be with a notion that you had a bad run of luck. Or you would think that all the other players are way much superior and you cannot even stand a remote chance to beat them. Based on the results of several studies, there is a significant positive connection between external locus of control and several risks of criminal or problematic behavior as the main driving force. Similarly, it emerged that patients with an external LOC are less willing to adhere to treatment than patients with an internal LOC. However, what this is saying is that people with external control of reinforcements cannot be offenders of obscene actions. This at least implies that people who feel as if events are happening to them and circumstances are beyond their control do not feel as if they can control themselves. Therefore, they do not attempt or do not properly exert efforts to transform their behaviors. Let's explore what a locus of control looks like in work and everyday life. An internal locus of control might initially seem to be the more ideal option. An internal locus of control isn't always beneficial though. Similarly, having an external locus of control doesn't always mean negative things. It all depends on the situation. The way in which a person exhibits a locus of control depends heavily on their other personality traits. For instance, a person with a high internal locus of control could be extremely straightforward and concise. This can result in a lack of tact in the workplace, but it can also make communications clearer, as some people are easier to bully into submission than others. Overemphasizing control can also result in burnout. The road to overworking can be treacherous because people think that they're the only ones who can accomplish everything they set out to do. As a result, self-esteem and mental health may suffer. However, having an external locus of control can have a number of advantages. For example, these individuals might be more aware of their environment and other team members, which could help them work better as a team. Additionally, they have an easier time of letting go of things. That can lead to their happiness, particularly in terms of relinquishing control over outside influences that are actually outside of their control. However, having a let-go mentality has its advantages as well as its disadvantages. For some, it may bring about peace, but for others, it may bring about apathy. Social loafing can be caused by both an internal and external locus of control, but for different reasons, insufficient concern for the group's objective can lead an individual with an internal locus of control to start slacking. An external locus of control person may be a slacker because they think everything will work out in the end and that their contribution is meaningless. Both varieties can produce comparable results in certain situations, despite their unique characteristics. The key lessons is that different kinds of locus of control aren't all internal or external or all good or bad. Understanding what inspires your behaviors makes it easier to devise a plan of action to bring you where you want to go. A person's locus of control can influence their level of stress and overall pleasure. You can accelerate your growth regardless of the center of control that motivates you. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments on how you applied the locus rule in your life. Do you want to become the best at what you do? Well, you can find out by watching this video.